Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 5 different fragrances that I personally consider masterpieces. Fragrances that I can go back to over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and love them every single time. Got a good mix between these 5 fragrances here. Some designer, some niche. So let's jump into it and check out some absolute masterpieces. Now, of course, goes without saying, what I consider a masterpiece, you might not, and what you consider a masterpiece, I might not. For example, if you tell me Drakkar Noir is not a masterpiece, I'm just going to give you the stink eye. I'm going to judge you internally up here. I'm going to judge you. Not a masterpiece, huh? These are fragrances that I just really love, really adore, and they grow on me more and more over time. And I'm going to kick it off with a fragrance that the more I smell it, the more it works its way into possibly being one of my absolute favorites of all time ever, like top 3. I don't know. I'll take time off from it, like month and a half, go back and smell it again and just be mind blown like I'm smelling it for the first time. Dior Homme Intense. I love this stuff. Iris, ambrette, lavender, cedar, and pear, some of the notes here. It is just balls out amazing. At least in whatever situation it balls out, could be amazing and not terrifying. That guy balls out. No. The iris here is just amazing. It's to die for. It is just fantastic. It's the best iteration of a designer fragrance utilizing iris in a way that people would call makeup-y. It smells of lipstick in the best way imaginable. It's got this great underlying sweetness that's done in this very rich, elegant, sophisticated way. It just absolutely is stunning. It's one of the best formal fragrances of all time. Amazing on nights out. It lasts forever. It projects heavily. The epitome of class in a designer fragrance. So Dior Homme Intense, this stuff, man, I have 3 bottles of it and I probably need 3 more. Maybe I can collect some older editions and add those to the collection. Now, this next one used to be a hype beast. Once upon a time, everybody wanted you to know about this and everybody was singing its praises. One of the go-to beginner niche fragrances that still had great complexity and depth and uniqueness and all this other great stuff. Just a lot of really nice descriptors. And then over time, this fragrance kind of fell out of fashion a little bit as far as being pumped up. And for that matter, the house as well, because this was at one point one of those niche houses that everybody wanted you to know about. Now they're still around, they're still kicking it, but it's not at the same level as it used to be, just as far as we'll say the hype goes. The fragrance is Chergui from Serge Lutens. This is actually my 2nd bottle of the fragrance. This is the older 50 ml bottle size, and this one is actually a tester because the full presentation, which was what my previous bottle was, they come with like a little screw top and you unscrew it and then you put the atomizer down in there and screw it on. This one has tobacco, honey, hay, amber, and incense as some of the notes in the fragrance. Yes, hay. I love so much about this fragrance, that burgundy kind of coloration of the fragrance itself. The scent profile is a really interesting take on tobacco leaf. It's not your more standard, really sweet, honeyed pipe tobacco. Yeah, there's honey in here, but it doesn't come across that way. Now, that being said, I love a honeyed pipe tobacco, and an upcoming fragrance might have that in it. So I'm not hating on honeyed pipe tobacco is what I'm saying. This has that sort of grassy, again, hay-like undertone to it that really helps set it apart. Again, another fragrance that's very elegant and I feel like deserved every bit of hype that it got, even if nowadays it's kind of old hat. This next fragrance is an amazing buy. At discounters, this is regularly in that $30 range, sometimes a little bit below $30 if we're talking a 50 ml size bottle. It is from Guerlain and it is vetiver. Not a big surprise because I'm a fan of vetiver. I've talked about that a bunch. And this is one of the best buys if you're looking for a vetiver fragrance, but you don't want to spend too much money. It's complex. There's a whole lot going on here. It's very masculine, kind of an old school throwback feel to it as well, because that's just the type of scent it is. It's got tobacco, oak moss, and leather in here. Again, really amping up the masculinity in the scent. Little touch of citrus on the top just to kind of, lead you into those richer, heartier notes as it dries. Versatility through the roof here. Basically an any season fragrance. Maybe some people would say, a little too heavy for summer. I don't think so. Just don't go too heavy. Office safe. It's great in formal situations, business situations, good during the day, good during the night. It is a top of the line vetiver scent that you can pick up, again, for about $30 at discounters. It is an amazing deal. I love this stuff. I have this bottle. I have the iteration that came before this bottle-wise, where really it's just different cap for the most part. And then I have a couple of older bottles that are in the previous bottle style. So I've got lots of different bottles of Guerlain vetiver, and also the flankers that have come from that one. So if you're looking for a classy, sophisticated vetiver fragrance that's not going to break the bank, you want one of the best ones that you can get without, having to mortgage your house, Guerlain vetiver. Now remember, I talked to you about tobacco just a second ago with Chergui, the honey tobacco, honey pipe tobacco. Yeah, got one of those right here. Xerjoff Naxos. I've had this bottle for a while now. Check out that coloration. As time goes, the fragrance inside ages, and here it's turned to this really wonderful kind of caramel amber coloration. Of course, nowadays, the bottle design for this is different. Some people are going to prefer this style of bottle. Others are going to prefer the new style. But as far as I'm aware, the fragrance on the inside is still the same. So this one has tobacco, tonka, honey, and cinnamon in here, as well as a little bit of lavender. So that lavender gives you an interesting contrast that you might not expect. You would go into it thinking just, okay, gonna be tobacco leaf, pipe tobacco, sweet, sweet, sweet. But that lavender gives you this aromatic, fresh contrast, especially in the opening and mid, that really helps set this off. Of course, like with most fragrances, a bit of citrus in here off the top. So kind of similar to Guerlain vetiver, where you get that citrus, but it's not the focal point. It just gives you this kind of bright opening and leads you into everything else. That one gets compared all the time to Pure Havane from Terry Mugler. And they're definitely in the same style, same family, whatever you want to call it. And there are definite similarities between the two. One of the main things that sets off Naxos is that lavender. So that's going to be one of the big differentiators between Pure Havane, that and of course the big difference in quality of ingredients. That being said, Pure Havane, fantastic. As far as designer tobacco fragrances go, love it. I have worn the heck out of Pure Havane, and I wish it were a little easier to find. It seems like as time goes, Pure Havane gets harder and harder to pick up, but it's worth it. Back to Naxos though. This is one of my absolute favorite Xerjoffs. If I were going to rank out all of them, it would make the top 3 easily. And especially around times like now, as I'm heading into fall, cooler weather, leaves are starting to come off the trees and it's getting kind of windy and chilly. Naxos is just an unbelievable reach, just amazing. Now this last fragrance, some people would say, no, it's not a masterpiece because it's a blue fragrance. It's a compliment puller, mass appeal. Ugh. For me though, I love pretty much any type of fragrance, green fragrances, blue fragrances, vetiver, oud, tobacco, leather, whatever, it doesn't matter. I like something in every genre. And I feel like every genre does have masterpieces. Whether or not you agree with that is your own opinion, but that's how I view it. So for me, this blue fragrance, I feel like switched things up enough to really define its own niche, its own lane in the blue fragrance category, but it retains everything that makes a blue fragrance at the highest level. So versatility, mass appeal, ease of use, all that, it crushes. and it is Y Eau de Parfum from Yves Saint Laurent. So this has apple, ginger, sage, amberwood, and tonka as some of the notes in the scent. Yeah, those are a lot of notes that you will see utilized across the board with blue fragrances, especially the ginger, the amberwood or ambroxan, depending on the fragrance, and tonka. What I love about Y Eau de Parfum, though, is it basically has something for everybody. If you're a younger guy, you can easily pull it off. If you're an older guy, you can easily pull it off. It's not one of those fragrances that kind of leans really far to one side or the other. You've got sweetness in there for sure, but not too much. You know, it doesn't bash you over the head. It doesn't slap you in the face with sweetness, just enough to grab people's attention. That slight change, that variation, going with apple instead of something like grapefruit or bergamot, helps to set it off a little bit more. And while the apple doesn't come across like a super realistic juicy apple, at least it doesn't go too far toward the side of being like one of those hyper sweet clubbing fragrance apple notes. And this one retains that versatility and that lovability the whole way through, which is why it's just an absolute monster. Everybody seems to own it. The performance here is great as well. Y Eau de Parfum for me is one of the tops of the tops of the tops of the designer blue fragrances. Now for me personally, I like Y Le Parfum just as much, but Y Eau de Parfum is the one that really set the course for the Y line. I mean, yeah, there was the Y Eau de Toilette, the original, and a lot of people really like that, but the Eau de Parfum is what really kind of set in stone. Okay, this is the Y line. It's going to be taken very seriously by the masses of people, and you know, here it is. This is what we're doing, and it's just such a good dumb reach. I mean, you can wear that stuff anywhere, and it's going to work. So there we go. 5 masterpiece fragrances that I can't get enough of. I just keep coming back to them, and every time I smell them, it's like I don't get tired of them. I just go, yep, still awesome. Because there are fragrances that I've had where I smell it initially and I'm like, yes, this is it. And then 6 months, a year later, after I've smelled it a bunch more, I just think to myself, I'm kind of done with that. Not these. These can stick around. All right, guys, let me know in the comments, what are some fragrances that you yourself consider a masterpiece that every time you go to it, you just think, man, it can't get better. This is awesome. Thanks so much for hanging with me today. Thanks for your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.